when you all think of childhood, when a child is past crawling, past learning to spell their name, the understanding of who their parents are, and their knowledge of the world, what do you think childhood should be? When I was growing up, childhood was tough, but you still could have an imagination. But as a kid, I was smart enough to know what that entailed. It entailed being carefree and being whimsical. Childhood should be paper planes. Childhood should be visiting the Ferris wheels. Childhood should be going to get ice cream at the ice cream truck on a hot day and trying to see how long you can eat it before it runs down your fingers and gets sticky because it's so hot outside. Childhood is skipping rope with your friends. Childhood is painting stick people, and in hopes that as you get older in your youth, you start to learn to draw real people. Childhood is summer camp where you get to have hot dogs and sit around and talk with family or maybe rainbow trout. What it isn't is what just happened in Shreveport, Louisiana yesterday. So I just don't have a lot of give on this because this is profoundly one of the saddest things I think that I've ever dealt with this year having to report. So let's go to Louisiana where I'm about to read a tragic story. We'll come back and talk after I've covered this, but this is something I didn't want to cover, but there's importance in how this happened. Before the story goes, if you want to go read the true wording, please go and see in my description what I got from the Daily Mail because I used the proper YouTube language to keep this from being flagged. So without further ado, here's the story. Tragedy unfolded early on Sunday morning in a quaint neighborhood in Louisiana when a man opened fire and unalived 8 young children. At least 10 people were pew-pewed, and 8 juvenile victims passed after the Shreveport Police Department was called just after 6 a.m. to reports of a domestic disturbance. The youngest victim in the unfathomable tragedy was 18 months old, and the eldest was 14 years old. Some children pew-pewed were descendants of the shooter, cops said. 2 adult women survived the bloody incident after being pew-pewed. Meanwhile, a young boy who was also at the home when the gunfire erupted was seen jumping from the roof in a bid to escape the attack, KTBS reported. The ordeal unfolded across 3 different locations. The first, blah, 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 I'm not going to name that, was where the children were unalived. The unnamed male suspect then performed a carjacking and led officers on a chase traveling a quarter mile away to blah blah street between blah blah and blah blah. He then moved to the 3rd location in Bossier Parish. He was pew-pewed and unalived by the police there. The crime scene was described as rather extensive by police spokesperson Christopher Bordelon. We do believe him to be the only individual that fired the pew-pew at these locations, he added. Bordelon said the name of the suspect will be released, but the victim's next of kin have to be notified first. He said some of the children in the home were his descendants, but did not provide further details. Shreveport Mayor Tom Arsenault solemnly addressed the shaken community after the pew-pewing. We have a hurting community. We have hurting families. We have hurting police officers, coroner personnel, fire department, sheriff's people, Arsenault said. This affects the entire community, so we all mourn with these families. It's a Sunday morning. I ask all of you who are listening who might be able to pray at your services this morning, not just for this family, but for all the victims. The mayor added that the incident is maybe the worst tragic situation we've ever had in Shreveport. The investigation remains ongoing. Shreveport, about 5 hours outside of New Orleans, is a high crime area known for violence, according to Neighborhood Scout. 1 in 82 people become a victim of a violent crime in Shreveport, compared to 1 in 192 in the state of Louisiana, the report showed. This is a breaking story. First, before I get to the point of why I made this video, I want to give a shout out first to all of the first responders who went to this scene. No matter how many times you go to any crime scene, regardless if the person is unalived or they live, it will never get easy to watch children suffer in the way that these had. And it's not just the baby, from the baby to the 14-year-old, even the one that jumped off the roof that from all accounts seemed like they lived. And to jump off a roof like that, you're going to sustain some type of injury because you did it in desperation rather than a calculated move. So my shout out to the first responders who have to see that and will have to report it and investigate it, and even the coroners. What in this story stuck out to you all? As short as it was, and it's a breaking story, by the time y'all get this on Monday, there might be more information and it might have already hit most of YouTube. 2 times, the authorities, when speaking to the media, emphasized that half of these people unalived were the descendants of the suspect that was also unalived. Think about that for a minute. We don't know the details, so I'm going to make a speculative guess here until more details come out, and I'll correct myself once the reporting comes out. Why would a grown man, I want you to think about this, and it don't give me simple answers. I want you to put your thinking cap on before I answer. Why would a grown man specifically choose to go after the children in his family and presumably kids of other families that did nothing to him? He's evil, he's wicked, he's selfish, he's cruel. No, all those things can be true. But there's something sinister to going straight after kids this young. Whoever this was so mad at their family that instead of going after the adults, they went after the children. Something in this man decided, I'm going to go after the innocent of my own bloodline to prove a point. And if you want to suffocate a bloodline and you're an adult, go after the ones who are developing that can't see it coming. These kids could not have seen this coming. This person disdained whatever side of the family this was so much that they wanted to send a message by taking out the next generation of the bloodline. Don't pretend this isn't significant. It has a significance to it. Most people who are mad at another adult just go take care of that adult and keep it moving. Either they become fugitives, either they take their life, either they run from authorities and they catch them, or they're unalived. A myriad of things can happen, but they go and specifically take it out on the adult. An 18-month-old baby couldn't have done anything to this man to deserve to have lost their life on April 19th. Ain't no way. Even a 14-year-old kid couldn't have done anything to this grown man. Ain't no way, but their parents did. And therefore this person decided, oh, I'm just going to go wipe out the next generation of the bloodline. I don't want to hear that this is mental illness. There's something sinister to this story. That this person decided, instead of going after the adults, which this is my speculative thing, that likely offended them. They decided to get the kids. That's all it takes these days. Somebody can just feel like you offended them and they'll take something from you. And that's even a life. Here's the moral of the story. When someone being a part of your bloodline doesn't give them right to access to you. Access is earned. It is earned through dignity and respect. And this article names specific streets, and that's why I did a lot of blankety blank. We're not going to name all of that. Y'all can go look all that up on your own. Because I wanted to stick to this one thing. Did these people know that this person was this unstable and disliked them? Did he make threats before the cops unalived him? See, the reason those two questions are distinctive, and I want you to think about them, is because they likely did what a lot of other people do and downplayed this and didn't set up any security parameters in place and thought, oh, this was our cousin, uncle, brother, something or other. And it didn't occur to them when he kept making threats, assuming that he did. Again, a lot of this right now is speculative. Assuming that those threats were made, they all downplayed it and pretended it wasn't a big issue. Oh, he'll blow off steam. Oh, they'll do this, this, or this. A lot of y'all out in these streets are suffering or being unalived and hurt by family because they can't control their emotion, and their offense to what you either genuinely did to them or they perceive you did to them is enough for them to go get a weapon and take care of you now. And oh, why go after you when they can just have you stay alive and wipe out the future generation of your bloodline? There's an underlying jealousy there to have gone after the children instead of the adults that offended this man. And don't tell me, well, offense is not the right word. Yes, it is. For you to have done something like this, some offense or offenses on this man's end occurred for him to say, oh, I'm just going to go and take their children out. And when this article says some, that means innocent kids from other families who likely had nothing to do with this stood to lose. These people had no clue the firestorm that was coming their way. All because somebody could not control their emotions and got offended. Be careful about who you let around you. Just because someone's related to you, just remember that doesn't give them right to access. My condolences to the families. Thank y'all for watching.